Hello, I'm Pamela Davis. Welcome to episode 110 of the Well Done Life podcast. Hello, and welcome back to episode 110 of the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis. If you are new here, hey, how are you? Welcome. I am so glad that you are here with us this week. I hope you stay a while. If you've been here before, you guys know the deal. I love you deep, and I hope you stay a while too. I hope actually you just keep staying. And I just want to say thank you for continuing to support. Before we dive into this week's episode, I know I'm kind of like a broken record, but it is really important for me to set the foundation. We're building a safe space. And so since we're building a safe space, I treat this area like this is a house. And I want to make sure that we are building our house on two very important things, and that is clarity and love. So let's kind of dive into clarity. It is pretty straightforward. I just like to make sure that you understand why you were here. The Well Done Life podcast is a podcast that I created. I believe women are the foundation of society. And I think it's really important that we start to cultivate more spaces where we can be our most authentic, safe, honest, real selves. And that's what this is about. I want us to be able to share the good, the bad, the ugly, all of the things that make us uniquely who we are in this space so that we can create an opportunity for women to learn from each other. Because I think when we sit down and actually have conversations and share our stories, we give each other an opportunity to learn and to grow and to be encouraged and inspired. So that is what this space is all about. I want you to feel encouraged. I want you to be inspired. I want you to know that you are supported and seen and loved and valued. So welcome to the Well Done Life. Now, we know why we're here. Let's talk about my favorite other thing. And it's actually the most important thing, and that is love. Love is going to be the root of everything that we do in this space. And I want you to feel loved every day. So I like to make sure that I start off every episode by sending you prayers. I want to this week send you prayers of peace. I want to send you prayers of love. And I want you to feel love from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And also kind of backtracking on peace, this week has been really challenging. The last couple of weeks have been challenging. I have to admit, I think with the mass shootings, and then recently I'm recording on Wednesday night on May the 25th at 10:30. We're just kind of getting past, unfortunately, a really devastating mass shooting that occurred in Uvalde, and I think I'm saying that incorrectly, Uvalde, Texas, that at the elementary school, Robb Elementary. And unfortunately, if I'm not mistaken, I think the count is now up to 21 people lost their life. And particularly young children were murdered. And it made me think instantly of Sandy Hook. And it also made me think, I'm not a parent, but I still feel the loss of life. And I still can only imagine how heartbreaking it must be for those parents to have taken their children to school that day and to never see their kids alive again. That's just devastating. And even for the families who lost loved ones, the teachers, it's a devastating situation. So I want to send prayers of peace and love, not just to them, but to all of us, because moments like this are triggering. And unfortunately, they have started to become the norm in our country. And it can make you feel like you are used to this, unfortunately. And that's trauma, because we should never be used to these type of moments. And so I really hope that everyone is praying a little harder for each other, trying to find pockets of peace where you can, because, we are going to see a lot of this on the news right now, and a lot of it being turned into politics and all different types of things. And I'm not going to speak on it right now in regards to politics, because I just don't have the energy for that right now, the words for that, because I guess I'm more focused on the pain and unfortunately how to protect my sanity. So I hope that you all are giving yourself space to protect your sanity, especially if you're a parent, because I can only imagine what that must be like kids taking your kids to school, or now getting ready to take them into summer camp because school is getting out for the summer. You just get so afraid every time your children aren't in your sight. I mean, I'm 49 years old, and every time I leave my house, my mom's like, lock the door, be careful, don't talk to anyone. Like, literally, I get a lecture every time I leave my house because she's worried I'm not going to come back home. That is triggering and traumatic. And so I send prayers to all the parents as well. And those of us who aren't parents, but we still have people that we love every day, because I have my mom. And I also think about when I take my sister to work every day, I have those same fears as well, because you just never know, unfortunately, where you could be and something like this can happen. It can happen to any of us. I just think that has to make us a lot more empathetic toward each other, a lot more prayerful, hug the people that we love a little bit tighter, make sure that our heart space is right, because you just don't want to put yourselves in those positions of loss, God forbid. And we just want to kind of just value the moments that we are given, because they are fleeting and they are precious. So just kind of going off on my little bit tangent soapbox about that, because I couldn't let this episode go through without speaking to that. And especially as it relates to preserving our peace, you have to find pockets of peace where you can, because if not, it can make you go crazy. So again, I am definitely sending you prayers of peace, prayers of love. I want you to feel love, like I said, from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And I do want you to prioritize moments of joy this week. You need joy. We need it, not just for moments like this when we are going through, but just to remind us that we are still capable of happiness, and how valuable happiness and joy is into our lives. So I'm sending you all those prayers as well. And I am just, again, very grateful to be here in this space with you. So let's kind of start winding our way into this week's episode. I'm very excited to be talking to you guys this week. It's just going to be me. Last week, I had a guest, Vernelia McKnight of Share the Tea with V, on the podcast. I hope you guys got a chance to check it out. I know that it had like this weird fan noise going on behind it. I'm so sorry about that. My computer last week decided that it was not going to let me be great. And I got so caught up in our conversation that I didn't even hear the fan running. And it just was a comedy of errors, but the conversation was just so good. I mean, Vernelia is an ovarian cancer survivor. And we also talked about how she's able to maintain positivity. I mean, she was born with it. Her blood type is B positive. So she is just a naturally positive person. And we talked about her development of her platform. We also had a really real conversation around, therapy and traumas that we have experienced in our lives, as opposed as around having children or not being able to have children, and making peace with certain aspects of ourselves. So I would definitely recommend that episode for you to check out. Like I said, if you could just kind of, I think as you start to listen to it, you don't hear the fan as much in the background, and that could be just really my wishful thinking, but it is a good episode. And I just want to again thank Vernelia for being on the show. I will definitely have her back at some point where the fan is not on, so we can continue our conversation. But it definitely is a good introduction to her and her platform. So I would definitely want to make sure you guys support. And I'll have her episode linked in the show notes. But this month is winding down, and I'm really so surprised at how fast it's gone. I feel like May just kind of came and went in a blur. And it's funny because for me, this was the month that I decided I wanted to focus on lights. And so I guess I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of wrap up this theme that we've had about lights, and then start to set the foundation for our next month's theme. I'm very excited to talk about that because I've wound up having some very interesting conversations around it, but I'm going to take one thing at a time. So let's talk about lights, and kind of going back to Vernelia as my last guest. She's a light. And when I talk about light, I'm talking about it in the sense of people who make you feel like they're sunshine. They're the ones that you don't have to talk to every day, that inspire and encourage and support you in ways that could be life changing. It's just their energy, it's their aura, and how, as women, we need to cultivate more relationships with lights. I find nowadays, I spend a lot of time, and I've talked about this before, talking about people who we classify as haters. And a lot of times, to me, people aren't necessarily haters. I don't really believe in that. I think what the situation is that we are dealing with people who are hurt. And unfortunately, hurt people hurt other people because that's just the space that they're operating from. And so for me, this month, I wanted to shine a light on the lights because we need to cultivate more space in our lives for the lights. And we have to stop giving so much energy to people who are going through things and unfortunately inflicting those things on us, because you can't make somebody heal. And that was a lesson that I had to learn. And let me say that again. You just can't make someone heal. You know, you have to understand that everybody comes into their own at their own particular time. I mean, that's why it's called your journey and their journey. It's up to them to figure out where they are on the journey and to be willing to do the work so that they can heal. But for those of us that have done the work or are doing the work, because the work does not end, it's not like all of a sudden you just magically are this wonderful, effervescent, perfect person all the time. Without doing any additional work. That's not true. You're always doing the work. So those of us that are constantly doing the work on ourselves to try to grow and expand, to be the best versions of ourselves, we have to focus on people who come into our lives who match our energy. You always hear people say, I'm going to give you the same energy you give me. I'm matching energies. I think now is that time to focus on matching that type of energy. We don't have time to match energy with people who are still on the journey, who are still just not where they need to be yet. So you have to kind of let people have that space to do it. You have to love people from a distance, and you have to start being able to embrace the people in your life who feel like sunshine. The people in your life who will motivate you and encourage you, because these are tricky times. I mean, we were just talking about what's going on, obviously, unfortunately, with the mass shootings. But as women, we are really facing lots of other attacks in reference to our rights. I mean, we are still fighting for equal pay. We're still trying to balance life and relationships and families and trying to be the best versions of ourselves that we can be. And so we have to make sure that as we are on the journey, we are surrounding ourselves with people who are on the journey as well. They always say iron sharpens iron. There is never a more true time than now for us to really lean into that than in this moment. Because kind of like going with the theme of this year for me, I know it has truly been about, making sure that I am living in a way that is very intentional, and that I am constantly staying on top of things that I need to let go of so that I can move into the best versions of myself. And so I have to constantly stay on top of myself with journaling, goal setting on a quarterly basis. I have to give myself space to grow and heal, because I know that this is such a critical time for me. So with that knowledge, that means that I understand that I'm a light, and I'm accepting of that light, and I'm owning it. And that's not an easy thing, I know, for me to admit. I have to admit, a lot of times I have suppressed my light to help other people in my mindset shine, because I wasn't 100% confident in what I was bringing to the table or how I was able to interact with people. And so I diminished myself. I held myself back. And I've finally gotten to this point, and we've talked about it numerous times, where I have made the decision that, you know what, if not now, when? Like, this is my moment, this is my time, and I'm going to embrace it because everything around me, God, the ancestors, all of that is telling me that this is my season that I need to move into. So I'm moving into it with pure, unadulterated faith. And I am staying on top of myself constantly so that I can make sure that I don't let outside interference pull me back, so that I will stay in this cycle that I like to call mediocrity, because I don't want to do that, because I'm tired of being comfortable, because for me, mediocrity is comfort. And so you have to make sure that you are at that place in yourself so that you can embrace the lights, because you have lights around you. You know, a lot of times when I'm looking around on social media, I do see those subliminals, excuse me, those subliminal posts that I see people sometimes, put out there about pruning and cutting off people and all these things. And I'm just like, they might be going through something, and, just I hope that people realize a lot of times, we all do, I'm sure, say it. We all can kind of see through that nonsense and we not go, okay, somebody's, hurt your feelings or whatever. I think a lot of times, though, when you see those kind of things coming up, it's a signal to you to make sure, it's a signal to me to make sure that I am staying on top of my mindset so that I don't have to worry about that. Because again, that leads back to thinking that people are haters. And you have to understand that, again, people aren't. I don't think so. I just naturally just don't believe so. I really do believe that there are a lot of hurt people out here. And because people haven't invested in themselves to do the work, they're just out here, unfortunately, unleashing their hurt on other people. And they don't know how to pull it back in because, they haven't done what they need to do so that they can feel comfortable embracing that sides of themselves so they can heal. And then they try to put that dust on you. But when you're a light, you are able to discern, who's for you and who's not for you. You're able to discern hurt from animosity. You're able to discern that you don't need to allow yourself to be in the company of people who are in this season right now. You can love them from a distance and focus on you, because you know that you are in this season of growth and opportunity. You are a light. You are trying to be a light, embrace the light. You don't have time to pull yourself into the other side of it. And I always like to make sure I say this because I think that people, that's easier said than done. And I want you to understand that, yeah, it's easier said than done. But when you have made that decision to embrace your light, when you have made that decision to be who you were called to be and not exist at a level of mediocrity, you make the decision to make tough choices. Because ultimately making some tough choices, distancing yourself from certain situations and people and things are going to be for the betterment of everyone. Because when you are at your best, other people get blessed by your best as well. Because when you're a light, it just shines on you. You can't help but be in that space where you are wanting to impart and elevate in other people. It's not that you're out here with like a bullhorn, like, yes, I'm a light, but it's just the people who are around you, who can see you, who really see you, who know what you bring into their lives. They can feel that energy and they glean from that as well. Because I have to admit, I'm very fortunate. I have some people in my life who I believe see my energy and I see their energy, and we feed off of each other and we encourage each other to go out here and pursue our dreams. See, that's what lights are about. That's what true sisterhood friendship is all about. It's about being able to be around people who encourage you to be the best versions of yourself. None of us need people in our lives who are comfortable with us being in a level of mediocrity. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think you have to understand that everybody's journey is different, and some people are just going to have to sit in their stuff for a hot minute, but they know that that they are capable of more. and they feel your pushes and they feel your support and they feel your encouragement. And then they make decisions accordingly to start making moves and start doing things because they know that you're supporting them. It's like you're giving them a gentle, quiet tap with, and not necessarily a shove, and you're not being disrespectful and you're not poo-pooing their dreams. You're not feeding into their fears. You're speaking life into them. That's what being a light is about. And that was why I wanted to spend so much time this whole month of May spotlighting that, because I personally have made it my mission to be that woman that is the cheerleader. Like, I'm always going to root for other women to grow and to elevate and to do the desires of their heart. I do. I'm always going to be that person. I always will be that person who will root for you without any strings attached, because I'm confident enough in myself to know that I can root for you and I'm still going to win, you know? And that needs to be spoken about and shown so much more, because one of the things that has blessed me by doing this podcast is that I have had the luxury of coming into contact with some amazing women. I really have. Like, I've met women from so many different walks of life and so many different situations who are out here doing the damn thing. And it just keeps me motivated to keep going and to stay humbled but inspired, because they're out here really doing it. And they're not celebrities per se. They're women like you and me who are out here going through the trials and tribulations of trying to balance work and family and life and happiness and love and beauty and all of these great things, and still making an impact. And that's why I love to do this podcast, because I want us to have those conversations so that you can see that there is an impact that you have to make in this world. And all you need to do is recognize that you have the same abilities that all these other women have, including myself. The only thing holding you back is you. And if these women can make it, if Pam can make it, you can make it too. And because we need each other. Women are the foundation of society. So we have to be the ones to step up. That is us. That is who we are. We are the ones who are going to get it done. So the more that we allow ourselves to really step into our light, to really show who we are, to be the magical, wonderful women that we are, my goodness, imagine what we can do in this world. And that is the most special thing about surrounding yourselves with light. So for me, that is one of the main tenets of the Well Done Life, spotlighting women who are lights. All the women that I will have on this show are lights in some way, somehow. And they are people that I would want you to connect with, and I would want to spotlight, because we need to shine a light on these queens who are out here creating space for us to be able to have honest conversations about our health and talk about our emotions, talk about sex, talk about love, talk about business, talk about content creating, talk about any subject you want, because we are all over the map out here doing it, and we have to make sure that we are spotlighted. So I hope that this month has kind of given you some things to think about and motivated you to start thinking, how do I tap into my light? And how do I celebrate the lights in my life? I mean, last month I was so honored to be able to have a brunch for some lights in my life. And they're women that I have known through friendship or through communications for the podcast, or through interactions where we've had with different vision board groups. And just during these past couple of years with the pandemic, it really allowed me to start tapping into meaningful connections and meaningful conversations, and just really learning from listening to other women. And so it blessed me to be able to have that event and to be able to spotlight these women and give them space to connect and grow and to be celebrated and loved. And I'm not saying that you got to go out here and throw an event for the people in your life, for the lights in your life, but it doesn't have to be that way, or it can, depending on how grand you want it to be, my love. But it could be just as simple as telling the people in your life who are lights how much you value them, how much you really listen, how much their stories really encourage and inspire you, how they have inspired you in some way. We need to speak life into each other. I remember recently one of my guests, actually, it was Wendy Roseberry, and she is one of the co-founders of the Condition Her product. And she was on my show with her other partner, Eugenia. And I'm going to get everybody's name correctly. Eugenia Marshall, yes, and Wendy Roseberry. And Wendy Rose made a really good comment about how, as women, we have to make sure that we really communicate more, especially as women trying to go into business and to share our knowledge. Like, we have to communicate. And Eugenia mentioned that Wendy is a connector. Like, she knows so many people, and she is just one of those girls who can connect you, especially when she sees your energy, she sees your passion and your desire to grow. She will just connect you and support you. And how we have to have more opportunities like that. We have to share more of our secrets, more of the paths that we have taken, because we are the ones that are going to speak life and encouragement into another woman who is out here trying to build her business or to find her path and her journey. And I totally agree. That's all about being a light. Don't be afraid to be a light. A lot of us, we get so scared. Oh, we got to keep it to ourselves because you don't know who's going to talk about you, how somebody's going to feel. Those aren't the type of people that you should be around if you have to worry about that. If you have to worry about your success creating trauma and conflict with somebody else and making them feel bad, they are not the right people for you to be around. They're still on the journey of healing themselves. You need to focus on the people in your life who support that journey that you're on, who support your growth, who cheer for you when you win. Even if they're not winning, they still want to cheer for you, because they know that if they cheer for you, that magic rubs off on them. Because I'm telling you, when you're not in your season, when you are in that time where you are working and trying to build and you are struggling, when you can cheer for somebody else, when you can celebrate somebody else's success, that magic rolls onto you. That energy rolls onto you. And that could be the battery in your back that you need that will help take you to the next level. Because you won't win if you will not be able to cheer for someone else's growth, even in a season when you're not growing, because it will always come due. It will always come your time. And you want to make sure that when it comes your time, you're able to receive all of the accolades, all of the support and encouragement, because you knew when you were down, you still could be positive. You could still let your light shine. You could still be that strong woman out there projecting great energy and letting that great energy come back to you. So make sure that you check your light. So I probably will talk more about lights, especially as my website is getting ready to launch soon. I'm really excited, and I will have a launch to talk about that. But I'm trying to figure out how I want to do it. But there will be a segment on the website called Light Nation. And Light Nation is actually going to be, I'm hopeful, like a directory of content for the women that are on my podcast, so that you guys can connect with them and learn more about their stories through their episodes. But also at the same time, I do plan on expanding Light Nation, where I also give you guys an opportunity to connect me to women that you know, because I would love to meet more people and spotlight them, because I think we have to, again, elevate each other so that we can grow. And then at the same time, the resource on the site grows, And then that becomes an area where you may be able to find someone who can give you advice about money, or find someone who has a product that you like, or help you start a business. There's just so many different things that we can do. So that is just kind of the long-term goal of Light Nation on the website. But when the website is live, and that is coming very, very soon, we are in the final stretch. Thank goodness. And I'm very excited about it. I will definitely make sure I let y'all know so you guys can check it out. And then we will start laying the foundation to building Light Nation, where you guys will get to contribute to people who are a part of that as well. And I'm really excited about that. So this is a long-term conversation about lights, y'all. This is a long-term celebration of seeing women grow and learn and share from each other, because that's what this podcast is all about. So I am just very excited about taking it to the next level. So I am very happy to kind of wrap up this month with lights in such a positive way. And I hope each of you know that you're a light, and don't diminish your light. Value your light. Shine your light, because you are going to provide light for someone who's in the darkness, and you would never even know it, but you are just going to radiate so bright that you're going to help pull someone to another level that they need to go to. So that is how we are going to wrap up May. Going into June, I'm very excited about it. I'm not going to go probably too deep, but I kind of will give you some teasers about it. For June, I have decided that is going to be the month of softness. I don't know if many of you have been seeing these hashtags, but I have seen a ton of hashtags on social media like Instagram and TikTok talking about the soft life. And so I've been following it for a little bit, and it has been fascinating me more and more. What do people mean by the soft life? And so I've decided that I want to talk about it because past Saturday, I actually got together with a couple of friends of mine, and we went out and had coffee. And so I wanted to kind of get their perspectives on the soft life, what they thought it was. And I was very surprised, but not really, with that. I think a lot of us are struggling to understand exactly what the soft life is. I think when you see it on social media, it gets projected to be, embracing the finer things in life, which would be very similar to what self-care is, massages, buying the nice clothes, having the nice ride, having the beautiful spaces and the apartments and houses and all those great things. And I think that definitely is a portion of soft life. But then when we were talking about it, it made me think, this is a much deeper conversation on softness and how we want to, as women, maybe return to our softness. I know for myself, and my friends can relate, as strong women, a lot of us are type A personalities, and, we're in charge at work and doing all these great things. But then at the same time, we carry that over into our home life and into our relationships. And how do we interject maybe a little bit more softness into our relationships with our spouses or our significant others? How do we open ourselves up to being able to be cared for and taken care of more? And, if we do these things, what could the benefits be? So I want to definitely start laying the foundation for us having a very long conversation in June about the soft life, because I know from myself, I'm looking at this as June, my return to softness. And for me, when I talk about my return to softness, it will include a little self-care, because I am very excited about I'm going to take a little staycation so that I can, a little solo staycation, kind of reset myself. I like to do that every once in a while. And it's definitely been something that has been calling me. So I will be doing it. I don't know at this point if I'm going to take any time off of the pod when I do it, because kind of the way that I have it structured, I don't really think it would interfere with anything with the podcast, but it just depends on how I feel. So, but right now I'm planning on just continuing to have episodes ready every Sunday in the month of June so that we can talk about the soft life, and we will have some guests. I'm trying to finalize a few guests right now, but all of our conversations will be geared around it. I really kind of, like I said, I want to talk about the soft life. I want to define it and talk about it, not just in a sense like we were talking about with the self-care and the nice stuff, but I want to talk about it from the emotional aspects, because for myself, I'm really viewing this as an opportunity to tap back into I guess my divine feminine more. And I am definitely all woman. I'm pretty ladylike to an extent, but I have to also admit I'm super strong. I'm the head of my household, taking care of my mom and my sister. And so that does tend to lead me to be someone like most women. We wear a cape and we take care of things. We make sure things are handled. But a lot of times, if we're not careful, that can lead to some challenges in relationships and also challenges with ourselves, because we're doing everything and we're not allowing someone to take care of us. And maybe it's time to start letting some folks take care of us. Maybe it's time to start opening up more into our divine feminine. So we're going to spend some time talking all about that next month. And I'm very excited. So this is Lady P's Return to Softness. I think that might be my theme for, for June. Lady P's Return to Softness. I don't know. It's just something kind of stuck in my mind right now. But yes, this is the Return to Softness in June. And so I'm very excited. I hope you guys enjoy the content. And if there's anything that you want me to cover in reference to the soft life, please don't hesitate to email me at thewelldonelife@gmail.com, or reach out to me via socials at the Well Done Life Podcast on IG, or at Pamela L. Davis on Instagram as well. You can also tweet me at I am Pamela L. Davis. I do spend some time on Twitter, like looking at news sources and stuff like that. So I'm on there a little bit if you want to reach out that way. But I'm very excited about this conversation, and I'm very curious to see what other people think. Let's talk about softness. So if you have questions, I want to answer them, because you are probably going to help me at the same time be able to define it a little bit better and just make sure that we're having a really robust month of content around it. So I'm just really excited to kind of wrap this up, y'all. We are about to enter into the 6th month of the year. And so it has been an amazingly different 2022. We have seen lots of highs, lots of lows. And I hope everyone is prepared to enter into this 6th month. It means we're halfway done with 2022. This is a great opportunity to look at where you are in regards to your goals, look at how you're feeling about things. I mean, if you haven't set goals, there's still time. Don't feel like all of a sudden like you're behind the 8 ball. If there's something that you want to try to accomplish this quarter coming up, go for it. Why not? January, February, April, May. Yeah, I mean, it's time. Second half is starting. There's still time for you to get it all done. So we'll talk about that a little bit more too, because I definitely think that could be part of the soft life, opening yourself up, to being able to align your goals better or correction. So that could be on the table as part of the content. But I know it has definitely been, like I said, to me, an amazing May. And I know by the time you guys listen to this, it will still be May. It'll be actually right before Memorial Day. So I hope you all have a really safe and wonderful holiday with friends and family and good food and relaxation, and are just ready to receive June with all that it can offer. So I will definitely be back next week with a new episode. All of my information will be linked in the show notes. Again, I want to thank you guys for your continued support and encouragement. I love you deep, and I hope you all have an amazing rest of the weekend. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.